Yo, it's your boy Logos. And before we get into today's video, I just want to apologize for my absence the past couple of weeks. Me and my girlfriend moved into a new place, and then we went on a vacation. I was able to see some monuments and go to some museums, which I really love. I make no mystery about my love for history and how much I want to gain all the knowledge I can because, in my opinion, it's unlimited. It's impossible for you to know it all because history is constantly changing, being reevaluated, and restudied. So being able to see artifacts, writings, pictures of all these different types of stuff I love really made the highlight of my trip. And in the future, I plan on going some Civil War, Revolutionary War battlefields and monuments and historical sites. And maybe I can incorporate that in future videos. Because I love history, the knowledge is important, and I think it helps you be appreciative of the life you have today. We are going through some stuff, good, bad, and ugly, but having some perspective on it, I guess, just helps you from being overwhelmed, at least for me. But today I want to react to Joe Rogan talk about discussing parts of history, which I think will tie into what I said about just being grateful. A lot of stuff that people had to deal with back then, we don't deal with today. Mortality rates, the dangerousness of mothers giving birth to their children, so much different things that we don't even really think about today, our ancestors had to go through. And I'm just very grateful. I'd rather be grateful of what I lived through or what I have compared to be, I don't know, hateful, sad, depressed about what I don't have. But let's get into it.
Joe Rogan experience.
If you could go back, if you could go back at any point in time, see how people were living.
Ooh.
It'd just be like an invisible, bulletproof bubble.
Yeah.
You could just exist and watch, and no one would know you were there.
Whoa.
That'd be fun. If you were like 1890s
No
and you were
danger.
just
Yeah.
not the
No
racist
danger.
guy.
Honestly, for me, I think about that all the time, and I would probably go back to the Pax Romana so I can see the ancient classical world, but also see it at a time where it's supposed to be much more peaceful, much more prosperous, at least within the Roman Empire. After that, I would probably try to check out the Mongols and their conquests because of all the stories and stuff. So I'm pretty sure all it would take is like one battle or one siege or one campaign season, and that's enough death, destruction, and genocide for me. But I would definitely go between those two places. And then I'll probably skip ahead too to like Revolutionary France or Napoleonic France, because Napoleon is like my second favorite historical person of all time. So seeing him in person and seeing the actual events and seeing all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes so we can get more details, or I can get more details about it, I would love to do that. And lastly, the Library of Alexandria. I would love to be able to see that library and actually go through and read the documents. If it was possible to go back in time and also have the languages and knowledge to read different texts of different civilizations, I'll be at peace. You wouldn't even see me again because I'll be back in time forever and ever, to be honest with you.
Dinosaurs.
No danger. Yeah, anything. Whatever you want. Whatever you want.
1930s Germany. No, occupied France.
I
You
want to
fucking
see what
give me that
I would
baguette.
want Occupy Wall Street. I'd be like, this is so quaint. Little you
Get
guys
ready,
know what's
kids.
coming.
Soros
I
has
was like,
got
you guys
more
have a
planned for
really
us.
good idea, but like, it seems like you're not doing a lot with it. You're just kind
I
of
would
camping.
say Dark Ages plague.
No, that'd be a nightmare.
I know.
Just
I'm
you're
just bulletproof.
bulletproof. You just want to
Bulletproof,
see it.
Right.
You're
Bulletproof's
bulletproof.
a good detail too.
Yeah, you are in another universe. Okay, you exist in another dimension. You're in a dimensional sphere that's
Yeah.
allowing you to take place without
You can't talk to anybody,
You can't
just
be
watch.
interacted with. Nothing can touch you. Impossible.
So you can't fuck middle-aged whores.
No, you can't go nutty.
You know how to
Can't go
fuck 'em?
nutty. Can't go nutty. Middle-aged horse were 8 back then. Everybody died at 15.
He's kind of
Jack Cougar, 8-year-old cougar. Everybody was dying. They were just dying left and right
There's a
out
book
there.
called The Great Mortality by John Kelly. I was looking at it. It's fucking crazy. The King of England showered 3 times in 3 months.
Oh, my
And that was
God.
a scandal. Everyone was like, this motherfucker.
He's using up the water.
He thinks he is something else. dude.
Right.
Oh, my
No one
God.
showered. It was rare to change your clothes once a year.
Yeah, well, that's what they
Damn.
said about the Mongols, that their clothes, because there was animal
made out of,
skins.
like, rats
They were
and shit.
literally, rats.
Living
They
in them?
literally rot off of them.
what they're referring to, and I'm pretty sure Joe Rogan got it from the same source that I got it from, was Dan Carlin's Hardcore History. I swear, the Wrath of the Khans. Check out that series. It's not that expensive on Dan Carlin Hardcore History website. It is so damn good though. But he was referring to that when the Mongols first started, Genghis Khan At that time, I think Kamujan, I'm messing up his like original name, but Genghis Khan and his I guess you could say his tribe or his people, they was very, very dirt poor, living on the plains in the Russian steppe or the Mongolian steppe, and they would really catch rats, eat them, and use their skin for clothing. So they would have patchwork clothing of like rat skins because there wasn't much for them to really use or live off of. When you have nothing but the steppe and then just grassland, it limits the amount of wildlife, the amount of resources, and the other thing you could use to build up your civilization. And they were literally rare till it rot off of them. But another thing is too, even in future times, after Genghis Khan conquered all these regions of Asia, China, and even going towards like Eastern Europe, Mongolian people was wearing nicer clothes, but it would still wear them till they like rotted off of them. And this is even in accounts by people from European nations who interact with the Mongol, like diplomats or Mongol leaders or anybody that was Mongolian.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Their
They were so
clothes
fucking
were like
mad.
rotting off of them. There's two places I would go there.
Like
I would want to
Gaga.
see Genghis Khan take over
That'd be
like
cool.
cities in
Sure.
China. I would like to see that.
I'd love
I
to
just
see
wanna see it
somebody being
once.
a Pol Pot village right before he comes. Shit
Oh,
like that.
God.
Yeah.
Imagine the pussy smell then.
Louis
wild.
XIV was terrified
Wow.
of bathing. He said to have taken only 3 baths in his life.
I thought it was in
Damn.
3 months.
Three
That's crazy.
That's a different
Way
story.
worse.
Could be a different
guy.
Oh,
Could be a
okay.
different
Way
Oh, it's probably
considerably
another
worse.
one. Louis took the trend for perfumery to new heights by
Is this the Sun King?
commissioning his perfumer to create a new scent for each day of the week.
Oh, hold on.
Oh.
That's it.
That's the bro.
Oh,
That's
wait,
actually
you-
like
They
the
thought
best
water
guy.
spread
With-
disease.
Oh, it was thought that water spread disease, so the less you bathed, the less vulnerable you were.
Which it probably did.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like pond water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bring
So
back
they're
one of those
just
purifiers.
shitting into holes in the ground and
Yeah.
not
Oh.
washing their
The
assholes.
cities were just
Same water.
everyone throwing their shit out of their fucking
Oh,
window.
Right.
Dude,
Yeah.
No plumbing.
I was
Slaughterhouses everywhere. There's
reading
blood
this book
everywhere.
that detailed when people were like the beginning of the turn of the century in America.
That's another thing too, like the whole thing with plumbing and public sanitation, that was a problem even leading up and during the Revolutionary War. My understanding, I think it was at Valley Forge or a different time when General Washington, future President Washington, his army was really down and out. It was at the risk of actually losing the war because people was leaving, people was abandoning the army, they weren't getting paid. But at a certain point, French, I don't know how you want to, I guess advisors, like French advisors, war advisors, they came over and helped Washington and his troops out. And one of the things they helped teach them was sanitation, where to put your latrine holes, that way you don't spread disease as much. Because these soldiers at the time really didn't understand that. Because honestly, when you don't understand pathogens, and maybe you're not used to this type of warfare, the colonies certainly wasn't. You're not used to large scale warfare. You have many, many camps or many, many men in a confined space where disease spreads so much. Oftentimes that would kill most armies. It would be disease. The battle wasn't that dangerous on people until people routed and they ran away. But leading up to that, disease and people deserting was the main reason people lost armies. Look at Hannibal crossing the Alps or any other battle, to be honest with you.
And what it was like in like the early 1900s in American
Oh,
cities.
yeah.
They couldn't get food up to them. It was
Disgusting.
horrible.
Yeah,
Like,
the
do you
Dust
think
Bowl.
like Amazon's dropping off your produce? No, like back then, no one's dropping off jack shit. If you're
Yeah.
living in the
Hell.
city, no one's growing anything.
That's it.
Terrible
Check out
nutrition.
this is
Beast.
an article called "The Disgusting History of Royal Palaces."
Hell yeah.
Just the very first thing, King
That's a-
Henry's court. They
What
had to
about it?
move because I have so much human waste that was accumulating.
Oh,
So they keep moving.
They weren't just
Be a
exercising.
Smooth got a new castle.
They actually did escape the disgusting messes large royal parties produced. Palaces like Henry's Hampton Court had to be constantly evacuated so they could be cleaned of the accumulated mounds of human waste.
No plumbing.
Livestock and farmland also needed time to recover after supplying food for so many people. Once the tour was over, Henry and a swelling court of over 1,000 would keep moving for the rest of the year, traveling frequently between the king's 60 residences in a vain attempt to live in hygienic surroundings.
Damn.
So he just kept shitting in all his different houses.
But that's the thing, you have so many people, a court of over 1,000, and you have no modern plumbing, no matter where you go. you're eventually going to fuck up the place with all your waste. You have no system to actually get rid of this stuff in a, I don't know, dignified or clean or somehow organized manner. So I guess you really have no choice but to move place to place. I don't know how these random, well, I won't say random, average everyday villagers that wasn't part of the nobility got through their day with, indoor plumbing, because they couldn't just go over to the next village. Their whole life was where they were born most of the time. But these people who had this wealth, they still had to deal with this type of stuff. Of course, they have more options like people do today when you have more wealth to get rid of, I don't know, negative aspects of being alive during the parts of time that you're in. Like, for example, a richer person have to deal with poverty nowadays compared to like most people, or I would say like average day people, or at least not stress about money. They have enough money where they could buy anything or buy off influence. These people got enough money where they don't have to worry about disease or death always being over their shoulder, or at least as much as the average everyday villager. Not to mention having access to books, science, literature, anything that's the most updated in their time period. It's just crazy. It just tells you a lot about the time and the place they lived in.
He's the original
shit where you
shit
eat.
order.
He shit where he ate.
Yeah, that's where it comes from.
I've been in there fucking eating poop for 12
Bro.
years. We gotta move.
Imagine.
Hold on.
these
I want to go back and read this. Within days of a royal party settling one place or another, a stink would set in from poorly discarded food, animal waste, vermin. Dang. The hallways will become so caked with grime and soot from constant fire, they would turn black. Here's the thing too, like if you notice this pattern where you're just throwing away food or just shitting all over the place and not cleaning it up, you don't want to at least hire or, I don't know, allocate some type of system to make this stuff a little bit better, or you just figure it's not my problem, it's somebody else's job, and I'm gonna just live my life and be noble or whatever the hell you want to call it, and just go about your life not giving a damn. But at a certain point, I don't understand people could live like this, but honestly, they really didn't have a choice. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but honestly, it's just really wild to me. And this is nobility, this is the king. Like, you can't get more powerful than this unless you're like the Pope. But I'm pretty sure the Pope had to deal with this stuff too, because he lived in Rome, a major city. You have, what, tens of thousands? It depends at the time period, maybe hundreds of thousands of people living there. You're going to have disease and death and famines and all this types of stuff. That stuff was going on during the days of Augustus, during parts of the Pax Romana, because you can't help disease and floods and outbreaks and stuff like that, because that's just part of living in the ancient world. You don't understand pathogens. You don't understand disease. Clean water is really rare.
I've been in there fucking eating poop for 12 years. We gotta move.
Imagine these
Poop
fucking
bladder.
people didn't know not to just shit in your house.
He's a hoarder. He just kept moving. Spot
You
to
don't
spot
want
to
to go
spot.
outside.
This room's done.
You go outside, you might get hit with an arrow.
Yeah.
Right.
Just shit in the palace.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
guy with an axe out. So there's
Yeah.
a million Jason Voorheeses outside. Everywhere you
Oh
look.
my God, the hallways would become so caked with grime and soot from constant fires that they were fairly black. The very crush of the court members was so dense that it made a thorough house cleaning impossible and futile. Though cleanliness standards were subpar throughout the medieval, Renaissance, and Regency eras, royal courts were typically dirtier than the average small cabin or home.
I'll be honest,
Makes
Europe
sense.
still fucking stinks. Dude.
It's because it's just a lot more people in your little cabin or home in your village. There's only maybe like 3, 4, maybe 8 or 10 of you, because you need more people on the farm, but that's a lot less compared to hundreds or 1,000, because you need to look good and have a court. It's just, it makes sense. That's because you have a higher place. If you have to live by a certain standard, and if it makes no sense, you're going to be at harm because of it.
Does it? It's 'cause of
Yeah,
that?
I was just there last week. Those fucking people
Really?
stink.
None of the windows are great.
None of
Oh,
them wear
shit.
fucking deodorant.
They got the
dude.
BO bad.
That's
They
true.
call us fat, dude. They stink like shit. I
That's
don't care.
true.
They do stink a lot.
Oh, it's the worst.
I'm not doing great.
Are they noticeably fatter?
No,
They're way thinner.
They're thinner.
Way
Way
No,
thinner.
they're thinner, but I'm saying UK is catching up. Big
UK's got some chubs.
time. UK's on our heels. Dude.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
The fat-
They're
And
just 10 years, 20 years ahead of them.
They're
You got all the
pasty.
fast food and shit.
They just got
They're
Doritos.
getting it.
They're gross, fat, like pasty and red.
There's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
being pasty, red, and fat.
Yeah.
Some people like it, dude. Some girls like it.
All right. But yeah, they said in old New York they had a a company that would just move dead horses out of the road because horses would just die and you just leave it there. What are you gonna push it in a dumpster?
Yeah.
Oh Jesus!
Who paid for that? Taxes?
And
I
there's horse
guess.
shit everywhere. Yeah.
Oh, horse shit everywhere. But it's like an old car that just breaks down. You just leave it.
And by the way, imagine living in a whole city that's filled with people who took a fucking boat from Europe.
Everybody's a gambler, dude. Everyone's a gambler.
Those are wild folks.
Yeah.
Ellis Island must have
A
smelled
boat that might
horrible.
not get there.
Might not get there.
Just for the
by way.
chance.
And
Right.
how much do you really know about what's over there?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Somebody lied to you at a bar in fucking Ireland.
Dude.
the streets are paved
with
Paved with gold.
man. Yeah.
I'm getting 15 gold pence a day.
And then you show up and you're like, what is this black
Son
guy?
of a bitch.
Who's
You
this?
show up and go,
What
hey,
is
you're
pollution?
going to fight in the Civil War.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
Wait, we're in a war with Italians here? We didn't
Right.
even meet them before.
You got to shoot at other Irish guys right away.
Weird.
Oh, yeah. The
this-
Donner Party. Like, let's take a chance on a
Donner
different
Party.
state.
Let's roll dice, dude. We're headed west.
Yeah.
Grandpa just died. Just keep walking.
Should we go next year? We got to go this year.
Yeah. There's something over there. Curiosity.
How many people had they talked to that made that journey before them?
Yeah.
Fucking
Was there anybody?
No, a couple. The one
Well,
guy was
yeah.
like, I know a better way.
the guide.
Oh, the guy
Yeah.
said I know a better
scam
way.
But he also was like,
Oh.
you got to leave by March. And they're like, late May still works.
Yeah,
Oh,
pre-map
no.
quest.
Yeah.
Oh no.
They just assumed something was
Literally
over
a
there.
map quest.
They
Yeah.
heard.
Literally a map quest.
Literally
Yeah.
a map. They're trying to make a map. They were just guessing.
Yeah. They were kind of guessing.
They would eat like leather and shit.
Yeah.
Just boil a
And they were
shoe.
fucking the whole time.
Well,
In the back of those wagons. They were
Yeah.
all fucking. They would have kids.
They'd have
on the
kids.
way, Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, there's nothing to do. You're just stuck in the back of a wagon with
They
a lady.
split up. One of the two parties had one fucking axe for firewood, and they were swinging it, and then the fucking axe handle just flew off 200 yards into the snow, and they were like, "We're all dead."
He couldn't find it?
It was gone.
what?
Yeah, they had to light lot of trees on fire, and
Wait,
that didn't
did
work
you
very well.
did you read that book under the indifferent stars above?
No, we were just nearby there.
Oh, really?
All the history's everywhere.
Bro,
They
that
found
is
when
so
they found them, they were
terrifying.
like snow. The snow drifts were so big that they were in pits of like 20 feet of snow. They would like the people, the rescue people found them. They would like look in the pit. They'd see someone just like
Yeah.
eating humans. Like they were like, oh, we gotta just cover this pit. This person's dead too.
Not to mention some fucking Choctaws coming at you with a face paint and
some
on a
bullshit
horse.
Chippewa.
Yeah.
No, they had a couple of Indian guides, and then they saw them looking at them like drumsticks in those cartoons.
Yeah.
You guys are on your own.
Sacagawea. Sack lunch.
Yeah, man. History, especially back then, was especially brutal. And it was brutal even leading up to more recent centuries. When you don't have sanitation, you don't have medical practices being more advanced or studied, or at least going about a more scientific or methodical method, you're going to get death, you're going to get suffering, and you're going to have a lot of people die for stuff that could have been treated. I'm always of the opinion to be grateful for the time you live in and try to improve the time that you live into. It doesn't mean you just sit here and accept whatever BS you get from the government or people around you. But also at the same time, don't over exaggerate. Don't act like you live in the worst time in human history, because you don't. And you're very ungrateful, and it's pretty, I don't know, disrespectful to your ancestors. That's how I feel. It's disrespectful to my ancestors for me to be complaining and shit all the time. So then I have AC, indoor plumbing, and I don't have to be in the sun all day. Unless I choose to be. And if I choose to be, I'm getting paid for it. That's the way it is. I'm not forced to stay in no village. I'm not forced to stay in no farm, plantation, or anything throughout the centuries or eons of human history. I've been lucky enough not to have to go to war. The country I live in, the United States, I've been lucky enough to not be in a super major war for decades. It's just a nice thing to experience. That's how I feel about it. People who go to war often regret it, unless you're like certain like crazy hardcore dudes. Like some guys from like World War One, who after even going through all the trenches and the bombs and the artillery, still somehow said that was an adventure. A lot of people who went into World War One thinking it was going to be an adventure going to war because their average everyday life was, I guess, boring to them. But after the war and seeing all those people die, they was pretty grateful about the peaceful life they had before. And they were especially grateful for living through it. So I don't need to go through a crazy ass war. I don't need to have my life change or me nearly die, or see my friends die, or see people I care about die from all types of diseases or suffering for me to be grateful. I just study history and I'm like, damn, I'm glad it's not me. Rather it be you than me. And who knows? If reincarnation is real, maybe I did suffer through that before. And maybe that's why I'm so grateful. Maybe I was in the Black Plague or some crazy ass siege from the Mongols or whatever. And I'm just happy I'm not going through that shit. And I'm just happy I can study the shit from the niceness of my own home and the peace and quiet that's my little German Shepherd. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. It's your boy Logos, and bringing out the content a lot more frequently now on. Let's get into it. Peace.